Welcome to another episode of the Topping Off Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Sterling, and today we are joined by Canon Baldridge of Integria Builds in Orange County, California. Canon's built his business from the ground up over the past few years, and today we're going to dig into how he's grown it, the network he's built around him, and one thing that contractors might find to be very interesting, hiring offshore virtual assistants and employing them to run amazing systems for the business. So welcome, Canon.
Hey, thanks so much, Kevin. Glad to be here.
Yeah, fantastic. So if you would, first just kind of give us the lay of the land. Tell us about Integria, how it got started, and, set the stage.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll make one small adaptation to your intro, which was amazing, but it is Integria Construction, and our website is Integria Builds. So a lot of people think I get on invoices all the time, but yeah. Integria Construction is a small, for the most part, residential general contractor. We do some commercial TI. We've done some work in apartment complexes, which my insurance would tell me is a commercial project, even though it's very residential. So we, for the most part, we do remodels, additions, expansions. Typically, our sweet spot is a project that has what I call a substantial level of complexity, something that requires a fair amount of oversight and management to make all the pieces come together. And we've been doing it for about 3 years. Coming up here in July, it'll be our third birthday for the company. And I am a partner with my wife, and that's an absolute joy to work with her. Huge blessing. She actually has been kind of working in more recently. She was kind of a partner that was just a silent partner in a sense. Obviously, she had plenty of input for the company, but now she's working in the company, and so she's been bringing her skills and talents, abilities, and insight, and that's been absolutely awesome. That's a little bit about Integria.
Awesome. And so why construction? Did you have a history in it, or?
Yeah, good question. So my dad was a general contractor in Texas. I grew up in Southeast Texas in a small town called Willis. It's about an hour north of Houston, and about 30 minutes south of Huntsville and Sam Houston State University for all the Bearcats out there. But my dad was a general contractor. He actually grew up, before I was born, he did it like full time, and then he transitioned into oil field sales, but he always did it on the side. And when I say on the side, he was like doing like full home builds and GCing kind of like as he worked, because he worked sales. So, a lot of self-determination in his schedule. So he was able to work in pretty significant projects. We added a second story on our house. Growing up, we were constantly building on our own home that we lived in. So I kind of grew up in a construction site. And then, everyone was always asking him to add on to their homes and do expansions and things like that. We did a new home build, like a spec home type for our church that we went to at the time. Their pastor, they wanted to build a parsonage, so we were able to build a custom home there. And I just grew up around it. Grew up, digging trenches. And one of my earliest memories of working on the job site, he told me to dig the sewage trench till I could walk in it freely, and it was up to my waist. So I wasn't that big, I guess. I was pretty small at the time, and then he reminded me how important it was to go to college and stuff as I'm digging, right? So I just grew up around it, and then I did end up going to college. My dad didn't go to college, neither one of my parents, and so it was important to them that I get a degree, and that was kind of the path I was set on. So they helped me get through school, and so I did a year at Sam Houston State University, where I was a criminal justice major actually, and I played rugby for the school. And then I transferred to a small liberal arts Christian school called the Masters University, which is located in Santa Clarita, California. And that's where I did another 4 there, and I ended up with a business administration degree with an emphasis in finance. And I was also able to study the Bible as well, and I studied abroad in Israel, so some really great experiences there. Then when I graduated, I kind of was I did a little bit of time. Like I was single, I was young. I didn't, have a lot of. I was easygoing. A lot of expenses. I didn't have a lot of, things that I was feeling driven to do, other than use my time as a young single man to serve the Lord and to help other people. And so I actually invested myself into some nonprofit work, just ministering to inner city communities, both in Los Angeles area and in the kind of like East Bay, so Richmond and Vallejo, California, just rougher areas that I had never had any experience with, like inner city type stuff. But I just got in there and got my hands dirty and helped out with some churches and did some ran some kids camps, stuff like that. And then after a couple of years of that, I ended up, and all throughout that, I'm doing that, and I'm also doing like construction or construction related things. And so then wound up back in Texas right at the start of 2020, right before COVID hit, and then ended up climbing cell towers for a year and a half, doing lines and antennas. And so, after all that, ended up back in California because I had basically decided I was going to marry that girl that I had met when I was, out there during school and after. And so moved out here to get married, and within a year had started a construction company with a partner. So that's how I got into construction. Was we had a small 6-month partnership, ended up transitioning out of that and starting Integria. So
Nice, that's fantastic. Thank you for that. And
sure.
so you went from digging ditches as a kid to top of towers. So you've done
That's it, man.
Spectrum there, man. That's good. That's
That's
a lot
it.
of nerve.
That's it.
And what does Integria mean? Where did the name come from?
Yeah, I think the first company that we started with partners, it was a good learning experience. I'm so thankful for our old partners, and just the way that they opened my eyes to the concept of taking entrepreneurship seriously, and even construction. My old business partner, he's the one that said, "Hey, have you ever thought about getting your GC license?" And it was funny. I had to call my dad because I was like, I don't remember my dad having a GC license, just because in Texas it's not the same. They don't have licenses for GCs. So which apparently is like only 3 states that do that. I think Arizona, Texas, I don't know, can't remember. But he brought that up, and so I looked into it. I saw that I had qualifications and did the whole CSLB thing, California State License Board. So that was, I got to tip my hat to him for kind of lighting that fire. And then just through those 6 months, I think we just, business partnerships are tricky. You have to pick the right person. You got to be a really good fit for each other. Communication is difficult, and sometimes, and some people do it well. And for us, it just kind of turned out not to be a good fit. And but again, still thankful for them, still good friends with them. And they're still doing their own thing with construction. But I think when we started Integria, it was kind of like an opportunity to sit back. It's just me and my wife, and we're like, what do we want to do? What do we want to be about? And basically, I believe firmly that if you do what's right, then the money comes. Like, we don't have to run around and chase the dollar. We can actually try to serve people and be integrous in our dealings and our business, and then you don't have to worry about where the work comes from, because it comes to people who are good to work with. And so I kind of wanted to factor integrity into the name of the company. So Integra was taken. So, which I get Integra a lot, but Integra? No, it's Integria. So we went with Integria, and then we've seen that to be true. Our slogan is "We build trust," because ultimately our job isn't to build homes or structures or kitchens or anything of that. It's actually to build relationships with clients and vendors, employees, everyone we work with. If we want to build trust with those people, so that we can have a company that we enjoy working for, that people enjoy working with. So that's where Integrity came from. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. And certainly going from Texas to California, a lot of differences in licensing, climates, and all that stuff. So what is the California what is the California market like right now where you're at?
Man, it's funny. I think it's expensive out here, right? Like, everything's expensive. I'm in South Orange County, so I think I live right outside of an area called Coto de Caza, and that's where they filmed like the Real Housewives of Orange County. So like, I've been told. Never seen it. No, just kidding. But wouldn't admit it if I did. No. This is just like a very affluent place that we live. My wife was super duper smart, saved a ton of money, bought a small condo when the market was low, and like 2020, like during the COVID years where, I mean, I'm not sure that it was really low. It just blew up after that. So it's low in comparison to, what it is now. But she's awesome for that. And yeah, I mean, we live here and it's a, like I said, very affluent area. Uh, a lot of really nice, relatively new homes. So we're not dealing in our work. We don't have the same like super historic old stuff. There is plenty of kind of outdated stuff, but yeah, I would say like, how's the market? It's up, it's down, it's all around, but at the end of the day, if I always, like I said, you do good work and the money comes, you do good work and you're honest with people and the work's always showed up. And, I mean, also the Lord just provides for us too. So I see that as a huge point, but we're super busy. We're growing, our phone's ringing. So, I mean, I can't complain.
Amen. And you kind of talked a little bit about the project mix that you guys do. Do you look for a certain avatar of client? Are there certain people that you're kind of targeting to work with, or is it mainly just a project focus?
Yeah, I would say I think we have grown in 3 years. 3 years is going to be in July, and we're pacing like 1.2 right now. I know we're probably going to end up closer to 1.4. That's our goal. Our projections this year is 1.4 million. And when you grow that fast, the answer to that question changes like monthly. It's
Yeah.
like, we started out doing like patio covers, and like kitchen, bath, like basic stuff. And at this point, we're like putting second stories on buildings and doing a lot of cool stuff. And man, learning all about cities and inspectors and stuff, like dealing with all that nitty gritty. So um, the client we look for right now, I would say is the person who wants a good experience in their construction project. I always tell people, we're never the cheapest one, and I think most people don't want to be. Some people, that's what they go for, is they're the value option. That's not necessarily us, in the sense that we're the cheapest, but in the sense that we provide the value that we charge for. I'd say we are a great value option because you're going to get a really clean experience, a really nice, cohesive end-to-end thing, good communication, good technology, good just a great overall experience. And then also, I just tell people like, I treat your house like it's my mom's house. Like I take care of it. I'm going to tell you. I'll be honest with you. If something comes up, if we make a mistake, I'll tell you. If we make a mistake on our pricing, I'm never going to come to you and ask for more money because that's not how that works. You stay true to your word. You sign the paperwork or don't or shake a hand, and that's what you're held to. So that's kind of like the kind of person we want to work with, is someone that would appreciate that value. I would say where we look right now, oftentimes, if someone listening to this resonates with that, I would say that if you can make some good relationships with architects, engineers, by the time someone's like, unless you're doing design build, once someone is invested in an architect and an engineer, that kind of demonstrates that they're willing to do things right, to make a serious investment in their home. And I think that oftentimes we give really good referral relationships where we kind of work hand in hand with a few architects and engineering firms, and so that has been a great source for us. We've been super blessed to work with some people like that. So
Well, I think you bring up a really interesting point, and in the spectrum of people we've had on the podcast, some contractors will come on here and they will name the sort of demographics that they look for, but you've kind of outlined the psychographics and the sort of like value alignment of, like you basically want to vibe with the people that you're working with.
kind of.
And I like find that to be like people that have very rapid growth trajectories. It's like they can like resonate with the people that they're attracting. So.
I kind of put it this way: when I talk to clients or potential clients, I say picking a contractor is kind of like picking a spouse in some ways, like a
Hmm.
short-term spouse. I guess you could say a girlfriend or something, or a boyfriend. Um, you're going to have to spend a lot of time talking to that person, a lot of time, like they're coming into your home and they're going to be there for a while, and the things that they're doing in there are going to seriously impact you. So if you don't feel like your communication is good, if you don't feel like you can resonate with that person, connect with that person, it's going to be a long 6 months. Whereas if you find someone that you feel that you connect with and you resonate with, and your needs are heard, and that the thing that they're providing is a good fit for that, then like, man, you know, I would say most people would pay an extra 20% for that right relationship. And I always say, I have to be a good fit for you, and you have to be a good fit for me. It goes both ways. So
Yeah. And you said earlier that the phone's ringing off the hook. So what's your marketing mix like? How are people finding you?
you know, I would say it's ringing. Maybe not off the it's ringing. I would say that. So as far as marketing goes, we actually have invested almost no money into marketing proper.
Hmm.
Um, Kind of what I do is networking that has brought in more than anything. So I'll speak now about my networking group I'm a part of. So it's called Building Trades Network. So it was actually founded back in 2008 during the housing crisis. There's a general contractor named Paul McKelvey, McKelvey Construction, based out of Laguna Beach, and or Newport. He basically was seeing everyone struggle, and all his subs were calling him like, "Hey man, you know." So then we need work, and we're all struggling. So then he created just a group of contractors that could like meet every Monday, kind of like be each other's teammates, build each other up, and that group has continued since 2008. So I mean, long time. It kind of blew up to like 5 chapters, and then during COVID, it shrunk down to 1, and then it's back up to 2 now. So I'm the vice foreman, basically like VP of the South Orange County group, and that group has been phenomenal. I think if people aren't part of a networking group, for one, I mean, there's so much opportunity when it comes to the work, but for two, there's so much opportunity as it relates to like relationships, connecting with people, having a team. I think being a business owner it's lonely at the top, especially for small business where you may not have the sort of team that a larger company might have on the leadership front. So when you can connect with other business owners and really feel like you got some people in your corner, I mean, it's just a phenomenal thing. So that's where we've gotten a lot of work. And then starting out, we actually got referrals from a water damage mitigation company. So that's actually where that was one of our like leapfrog moments. Was I mean, just a crazy circumstance connecting me to these restoration guys, and them sending us just tons of work. They did the restoration, they didn't do the rebuild, and so they needed someone that they could refer that would make them look good, and that they could, and they cared about their clients. They wanted to entrust their clients to a good general. So we came in and did a lot of that. I did it long enough to know that I do not want to deal with insurance claims. Like, that is pretty brutal. And so yeah, now we kind of get referrals, like I said, from engineers, architects, just again, just having a network, having a group, and building that connection. Again, I only moved here in 2021, so I've only been here, what is that, 5 years? So not a lot of history for me, but I would say you can build it. You just got to get out there and meet some people and commit to a small group of people that wants to move in the same direction as you. So that's kind of been what has brought us work.
Yeah, and you talked a little bit about your team earlier when we were chatting, and then sort of like tell us where we are with the team now, and then we're going to take that into the VAs that we mentioned, but just kind of give us an idea about who you're working with.
Absolutely. So we hired our first full-time employee. Well, I take it back. When I started the company, I was doing all the work myself. I was loading up and I can't even say truck. I was actually rocking a Kia Soul with roof racks, and I would just load that thing down with like ridiculous amounts of lumber and drive to people's houses and tile and flooring. This poor Kia Soul, man. I mean, they're awesome. You lay down the back seat, it's kind of like a mini painter's van, and it's still running. And we ended up passing it off to a family friend. So but yeah, so I was loading up the tools and going myself. So then I hired a helper, classic kind of model, and then we got slow, and I started trying to keep him busy with like stuff that wasn't making money, and like we've got like a rental property that I had him working on, but like at the end of the day, we were running out of money, and so thankfully there was a mutual situation where he had to go a different direction. So essentially he left, and then it was back down to me. And that's never a good feeling, right? To grow in the wrong direction. But that was around the time where, by God's grace, we connected with the restoration company, and they said, can you do these restorations? But in the amount of work they were talking about, I knew I couldn't scale in-house properly. So that's when we started developing a subcontractor network and saying, okay, we're not going to do the labor in-house. We're gonna sub it out. We're gonna do project management. We're gonna do sales. We're gonna do that kind of thing. So, fast forward maybe a year from that point, that's when we brought on our superintendent, Mario. Awesome guy. I mean, again, just we've been blessed so much because he was our first in-person interview. I phone interviewed some people. I just put an Indeed ad out there, phone interviewed some people, and then he was the first person we did it in person with. And man, after that interview, my wife and I were like, he's the guy. So he started back in November. He started a week before my first daughter was born. So he had a week of training, and then we had a baby, and I was like, "You're on your own." So call me if you need me. I'll be at the hospital, So we hired him as a superintendent. His job is to manage field stuff because I needed someone. Again, if you're an owner and you're doing the work, you find yourself in the field. You can't do the business side of things. So he took the field, and then our next hire, which was about, I want to say like 40 days ago now, was Anne, and she's the virtual assistant. She lives in the Philippines, and she works daylight hours here, and she's our operations coordinator. So she's managing a ton of office stuff, that kind of thing. And then my wife, she's the fourth team member. She's obviously been a part of the team kind of all along, but she worked for a lighting manufacturer. Her background is in basically like supply chain management. And so she came on board and she started, was just trying to find a good place for her to fit in, because I mean, I could really talk your ear off about her. We could make this whole podcast about how unique and gifted she is. Just a brilliant mind, a really creative social person, like just amazing. So trying to figure out like, how does she fit in? Well, she is in the process of getting her building inspector license so that we can basically do our own in-house quality control and inspections to make sure that we're up to snuff to pass the city inspections, and also just to make sure that our standards are high. So we just noticed there's a lot of back and forth in the field when, it's time for the inspection, and 3 different people are saying it should be 3 different ways. And my wife's like, isn't there like a building code we can reference? So she's like taking college classes and getting that license. So she's going to move into managing field op. So in progress operations. So her and Mario kind of take that, and then I'll do more of the like sales, marketing, contract negotiation, all the purchase orders to the subcontractors, just doing all the stuff up front to make sure that it's clean for them to just go build. So, and then Ann works with me primarily on that. So
I think, mentioning Ann probably perked a lot of ears of contractors who, are used to back of the napkin and keeping everything in their head and, just sort of like old school way of operating. So an outsourced VA in the Philippines, you've got to dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'll answer that in 2 parts. One is to get away from the back of the napkin stuff in your head is a separate piece, and that has to do with finding a centralized location for you to place everything. And we use JobTread. Couldn't recommend it enough. Totally changed how we do business. But we've gone through several iterations of softwares that we've been, and I hate to say it, if you want to grow and you want to be big, like if you want to, you're going to have to use software. I know a lot of guys are going like, yeah, I don't like computers. It's cool. But like, you got to just dig in and learn, or hire someone that can help you learn, take a class, whatever. So that's just a side note on keeping your data and your information centralized and not in your head, because you don't want to do that. It's not fun. I'm sure plenty can relate. With Ann, basically I was at the point now that Mario had taken field stuff and my wife was kind of working in a little bit. I was spending so much time on like just so much admin stuff. Just like it felt like I was constantly, you send out a proposal or a bid request or a purchase order, and unless you follow up on that, you may not get an answer, and time kills deals. So you got to be following up on your proposals. You got to be following up on your purchase orders to try to move this job forward. You got to make sure that when that person asks you this. So, there's just so much I was doing, and I was going like, man, like like, what do I do? And I started looking into AI and can I create an AI agent to do this, a lot of this stuff? And you can, but at the end of the day, even if you do want to leverage AI, you still have to have a person that like, babysits that AI, make sure that it doesn't go wonky. So we were able to connect with a company called ConstructAid that's based out of South Orange County, thankfully. So that was a really cool personal connect. And what ConstructAid does is they are a VA sourcing agency. I mean, there's two arms to them. One is consulting and solutions for organizational process, and the other is VA. And so, like, obviously, those two interact and intersect a lot. But basically, what they do is they will source and essentially they brought us candidates. We interviewed different people, but yeah, you basically tell them this is the person we are looking for. These are the sort of things we want them to do, and then they will find a good solution for you to. They'll find the right person for you, right? Or they'll find good candidates, and then they bring them in, you interview, and then they go back and train with ConstructAid, and ConstructAid will train them by like a metric that they come up with, and then they turn them back over to you, and then they kind of periodically meet with you and make sure that this person is actually effective. So I'll just put it this way: I did talk to a lot of people about VAs before like jumping into it. I did look into it. It's its own thing. It's like keeping your own books. Like if you've never kept books, I would just be like hire a bookkeeper. It's not if you want, like, you're going to spend so much time messing with that you're not going to run your business. Same thing with VAs. If you've never hired a VA, there's just so many things that could go south with like liability and information and all this stuff that like there's plenty of agencies out there that it's going to be a little bit more, but it's still way cheaper than hiring anyone here. And so ConstructAid has been a huge help for us. We're only like I said, like 40 days in, and so I mean already though just seeing a lot of help through that. So that was how we got through to the VA decision.
And how much of a managerial load does she add to your plate? Like I know you said that she's through an agency, so she's coming pre-trained and whatnot. But is she completely hands-free or what?
I mean, I would say the first week was like I didn't do anything but talk to her. And truth be told, if you had a better like there's two parts to it. I constructed as their onboarding thing, but like we didn't have anything for onboarding. We did for Mario. We had my wife, brilliant lady, created this whole plan of like these are the things he needs to learn. This is the stuff we need to train him on. So he kind of had this whole thing with Ann. We kind of didn't know. So it was just like, I'll just have her shadow me. Well, that's no way to really train someone, to be honest with you. It's people do it a lot. It's kind of the default, but it's not effective. So I kind of spun my wheels for a little bit. She shadowed me. Anytime I jumped in the truck to drive, I just had my phone on. I'd be talking to her. We probably talked like 6 hours a day, just me trying to like rattle off and teach her all this stuff. But eventually, we were able to get to a point where we understood kind of what we were looking for, what she needed, and what she was capable of, what she was not. And just as you train and identify things, you're able to, you teach her one thing and then she knows it. And the idea is you hopefully, right, never have to teach that thing again. So it's like, I always say when you create a system for something, it's one thing you never have to think about again. And we're constantly creating systems to take that stuff off of our mental load. But for Ann, it's very much like that. So a lot of very, very high legwork. And the thing was too, like we had a 30-day follow-up with ConstructAid. And I was like, hey, these are the 3 areas that I think Ann needs additional training in. I don't want to do that. And they're like, yeah, for sure, we got it. And then they're like, we're coming up with a plan for like our material selections, our workflows, stuff like that. So as you do it yourself, you just have to keep track of like, what do I want them to do? And you just work with them and just like, they'll help you. And so it's nice to have a partner in this. If I was on my own doing it, I think I would be a little bit more lost. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's been great.
I mean, I think I've hired VAs 20 years almost at this point, and I mean, I'll certainly say you get better at hiring them and training them and assigning things, and it's never as like turnkey as what some people think it is,
Nope,
but you don't get better at it until you practice at it. So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, no, that's good. I look forward to hearing how it goes long term for you. I'm also curious, like if you find like scalability, like does she have a threshold where you would then add another VA, to like to kind of
Right.
that.
That's something we think about, and honestly, I wouldn't have thought about it unless Construct Aid had kind of brought it up. But we don't just want her to be able to do things. We want her to be able to create SOPs, create repeatable things that then other people can do. So there is a question of scalability. I don't know how deep we'll go on the VAs. To be honest with you, I'm not sure what our next hire is. Um, Potentially someone that would do sales and estimating would be a good next move for us, which I think would be we could potentially hire an estimator virtually, but we'll see. I mean, it's definitely something we've been thinking about. So
Yeah. And you mentioned job tread, and you kind of the evolution leading towards that, and some AI tools. Anything else in your kind of technological stack that you want to call out?
so basically, we have job tread, which is project management, and not a proper CRM, but for the type of leads we're taking in, it's great. Um, we have obviously QuickBooks, so we link everything to QuickBooks. JobTread is a beautiful integration with QuickBooks. It's like seamless. It's so good. And then I'm going to shout out my bookkeeper accountant. His name is August Castle Bookkeeping, or August Castle Accounting. Excuse me. They just changed their name. And they are basically, they do a lot of different stuff, but they have a robust understanding of like the software we use. They're actually like a partner with JobTread. And so like using them, and he's also a partner with the next part of our stack, which is trust payment processing. So August Castle is like, they're like certified with JobTread, certified with trust, certified with QuickBooks, and they just like keep everything together. So they're a huge part. Like they're not a tech stack thing, but I'm like, I couldn't imagine doing any of it without them. So trust payment processing, that's our most recent addition. Have you heard of them, Kevin?
Trust?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Trust,
I have.
TURSS, trust.
Trust? No, actually, I don't think so. I think I've heard of one that's actually with a T at the end. So
So
maybe I
trust,
haven't heard of it.
I'm so excited about it. Trust payment processing, essentially ACH credit card acceptance, except for instead of just being a processor, they are the bank. So they're an actual FDIC insured bank.
Yeah.
And so what happens is when a client pays an invoice to me, it's available for use immediately via ACH. No fees, no limits. I don't pay a nickel to trust for anything. No account management, nothing. And when that money comes into my trust account, instantly available. If I want to transfer it to my external account, that takes a few days, but I can immediately flip that money and pay my trade partners and subcontractors immediately with that money. It's actually like nothing I've ever seen. And also they have an automatic cash discount thing. So if someone wants to pay with a credit card, then the fee, you don't need the fee. Like you literally paid zero fees. You have the fastest ACH experience. They're connected with Plaid, the people's bank accounts, so your clients have a great experience. It's like incredible. Like I just recently found it, and it's such a great integration with Trust, QuickBooks, and JobTread. I mean, like we are just absolutely loving it from an admin side. And then we do use Claude. Claude is our AI of choice. Anthropic fans here, big pump, big happy that Fable's back. We were waiting for it to come back. Not that I know what to do with it. I just want to have it as a fun tool. So for any Anthropic people out there, but yeah, so we use Claude. Claude is MCP integration into JobTread. So and then we use Plod. So Plod is a job site AI note taker. And then what we'll do is like let's say I go on a job walk, I Plod record the whole thing. I verbally say my measurements, all this stuff, and then square footage if I need to take it. Obviously, plans are a different story. If you have a job with plans, you don't use Plod. But for anyone out there doing something without plans, I Plod record a ton of stuff. I feed that to Claude. I have Claude create my estimates in JobTread. So Claude can take actions inside of JobTread, and it can reference all the information. So Claude is like our JobTread agent. It can build schedules. It can do a ton of things. And JobTread has optimized themselves for a Claude or Chat GPT or Gemini, whoever you use integration. So JobTread set up for AI integration. So yeah, JobTread, Trust, QuickBooks, Plod, and Claude. So that's kind of the main ones. If I think of one later, I'll say it. I mean, we use obviously Microsoft Suite for emails, calendars, Teams. That's just what we use. My wife's a Microsoft girly. So I was Google for a second, and then she came on board and was like, I ain't doing this Microsoft. So, and then Claude can do some integration, some light integration, with Microsoft and Outlook and that kind of thing. So
Nice. Well, thank you for walking us through that. And
yeah,
hopefully people will check out Truss. I mean, it sounds like they're
do it.
Incredible, unique offering. It's
Do it.
not common out there. Awesome. And yet another shout out for Job Tread. So I think they are by far the dominant player that we're meeting. So
yeah, and if you're gonna put this stack together, like August Castle is worth a call, man. I've never found I mean, we've talked to a lot of people. The way that they are so deeply connected with everyone, it's like I love how much I don't have to think about it. So they're based out of Virginia. So we work with people obviously all over the world, Philippines, Virginia. But like we're just so pumped with the way that that's all come together, and it's made. I wish I could copy and paste that part of what we do to everyone. I'm like, especially GCs, so.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Oh, thank you. Now you kind of talked about only being in business a few years and already sort of pacing towards $1.5 million. Was it all smooth sailing, or what were some of the big hangups along the way?
Yeah, no, it was easy, whole way, no problem. Yeah, not a cloud in the sky. So what were some of the hangups, man? It feels like every day is a victory and every day is a failure. Like there's things that we learn from everything we do. So obviously the first hang up was our first company, not working out. And had a chance to sit down and talk to my wife and say, I actually applied at some plumbing company to be a PE. And I told them I needed 80K to support my family, and they offered me like 63. And I was like, pretty sure I can make that as a handyman. So I was like, at least worst case scenario, I'll go change out light bulbs. So that was the first hurdle, and just not having a network, not having any connections. I mean, yeah, it was really hard. Feeling, I think, isolation, just the sense of like, I'm out here myself, I'm in my truck every day. Like, I'm a team player. I grew up playing team sports and, rugby at Sam Houston, and I always like having a team. So it was really weird to not have that kind of thing. And so, so that was tough, but like I said, God's been very faithful to us. Other difficulties of scaling is just trying to, especially starting from where we did, is if you're too spread out, then you can't focus on like one or two things. So we've done so many things. I mean, we've done larger scale. Not large scale, maybe mid scale deck refinishing with like a desert crete. So like the hard deck surfacing, like the weatherproofing. We've done foundation stabilization with ECP push piers. And it's like very niche. It's like where someone comes like, hey, can you guys do this? And it was always yes. When you're small and you don't have, it's always yes. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. But the challenge is as you start doing every different thing, you're like, hey, we have to create a new process every time we have a job. And it's just exhausting. So that was a huge thing of just kind of saying like, are we going to start saying no to stuff? Like, how do we do that? And do we have enough work to do that? So understanding our identity in that sense, I think, was challenging, and adapting to the growth. So it's like as we start taking on these bigger projects, I've got older clients who want maybe us to come back. So, and then I would say also a huge part of being a company and is just understanding that it's not just you're building a company. It's not your job, and you have to have a compelling like why behind doing what you do. And I think just trying to develop our company identity, trying to, read these business books and do more than just read them and think, oh, that's cool. We should come up with a mission statement and then put it on the shelf, or make a mission statement and then put it in a file and not look at it again. Our mission statement is Integria Construction brings quality, clarity, and integrity to every construction process through consistent execution and uncompromising honesty. And our three tenets are our three core values are the quality, clarity, and integrity. And so we go over that every team meeting. Someone recites it. We talk about the core values. We do core value shout outs where we talk about, hey, I saw Mario have integrity in the way he did this. Hey, Julianne, she had excellent clarity in how she communicated this. So we really want to take those things and make them a part of our company culture. When you're a small company out there, it just feels like that stuff's just rah-rah. That stuff's just like, that's just the stuff that those big companies do. No, it's not. It's something that you have to do, because as a leader, you have to show people why they want to come to work every day. Why is it awesome to have this on your shirt? Why are you excited for what's happening next? And that comes from the mission. Our slogan is "We build trust," and the guiding question, whenever we have a question of, hey, we're thinking about doing this, we're thinking about doing that, does this build or erode trust with our clients, our vendors, our trade partners, and employees? So that's the guiding, the signpost, right? And so I think it's a challenge to make those things real for you, because they are so important. But oftentimes when you're just in the day-to-day grind of trying to make sure that the job site that you're leaving that day, that the gate's locked and that the material's not out and the tools are up, and you get a call and someone hit a water line and now you got to go deal with that, like all that other stuff just seems like, yeah, that's for some other day. But like, I would say it's for right now. That company values and identity thing, that's who you are, and everything you do flows from that. And whether or not you have a mission statement written down, you are living by one. You just don't know what it is. So I would say those are some of the challenges that we've kind of overcome. And then obviously all the stuff, we're debt free. We have not taken any financing. I bought my truck cash. Everything is paid off. Like, we don't have any debt. And so for us, that's been the way we've done it. But even so, there's been months where I'm like, oof, I don't know if we're going to make it. So yeah, those are obviously kind of the common ones. So
just smooth sailing, like you said, nothing.
yeah, that's it, man.
And kind of a similar hypothetical question: if you're restarting the business tomorrow, what would you do differently?
It's a good question. Same company, like construction, just same type of
Sure.
deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't make an AI startup.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, oh man, yeah. I'm like, I kind of want to do window washing now. No. I would say that when I didn't realize, but like when you pick general contracting, you're picking some of the most complex thing. Like you're picking a complex job. And you're kind of the quarterback. And I played quarterback a little bit. I like wide receiver better, because all I had to do is run my route. I run my route, I do my job, I catch the ball. And that's what the trades are doing. But the GC is the quarterback. You got to see the field. You got to see the linebacker about to blitz and be like, okay, we got to look out for that. And so, yeah, I mean, I would say if I was starting over now, I would probably get a more mentorship. I would seek out like a GC who had been doing it longer and just been like, hey, talk to me about, whatever, the stuff I've been going through. I found BTN, Building Trades Network, and that helped me a ton. That's like where the community aspect came from. I would try to do that sooner. I would try to find, there's just no need to go it alone. There's so many people out there like you, Kevin, people who want to collaborate and hear each other's stories and learn from each other, that doing it alone like we did for as long as we did is just completely unnecessary and also not a lot of fun. So I would say go make some friends, go find someone that's been doing it longer than you. And we did, like, we kind of tried that a little bit. I would go out a little bit more aggressively. So.
And that's kind of a testament. We met through NAHB, which you're a new member of, and are looking at Builder 20s, which we've talked about on previous podcasts, where you get to exist in a cohort of experienced builders and remodelers all over the entire country, 20 of them, and they all basically lay it all out on the table and talk about what's going on. So I think you'll find a lot of value in it. And then also, if you want to pursue their certifications that they have, and huge benefit to your business.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. We're pumped about NHB.
So what do the next 12 months look like for you guys?
So I will say I'm super blessed, because my wife she took all of her brilliance. I'm gonna brag on her. She bought her first house at 23 out here in South Orange County, and then and then like figured out how to buy like a duplex and how to make it a fourplex. Like she's just a little real estate mogul in the making. And so she's doing that. And then also she, by the time, I mean, I don't even want to say, very early in her career, she was in like management for like one of the largest lighting manufacturers in the world and was like running a department quite early in her career. And that's because she is very smart and very good with people and just kind of like a wonder kid. And so we had our first daughter, and she's 7 months old now. And my wife decided not to go back to work to focus on raising our daughter, which is a huge sacrifice for her. She left a lot on the table. I think it was a big sacrifice. And now she's coming on board with Integria, and it's a relatively new thing. That's kind of the most recent thing that really happened, was her more serious involvement. So I actually get to hang out with my daughter every Thursday. So today was my day with her, and so I got her with me, and I'm taking her around. I don't bring her into job sites, but I might have meetings here and there with people that like trade partners, not clients really, but or just I also am the music director at my church. So I have church meetings and stuff. So I had a meeting this morning at my church that I brought her to. So I'll bring her to that, take phone calls, that kind of thing. So yeah, we're just trying to adapt into what it looks like to split the responsibilities between me and my wife, as she just came back from an inspection today and just did an awesome job. She has such great attention to detail, great communication skills. And so rolling her in is going to make us just an absolute powerhouse. I can't imagine the effect it's going to have. So that's a huge part, is getting her incorporated and seeing that go. She'll work about 2 days a week in the field, and then she'll work, from home other times. And then what's next, I would say, is we have two projects that total together it's probably going to come out to like, just those two projects will be like 1.3 or so. So I mean, the number I gave earlier was a current like income number. Our sales numbers beyond that. So we're trying to do a good job on these two projects. They're kind of our flagship projects, particularly the one here in Lake Forest. And so we want to do a really good job and use those to help develop our systems and clarify our processes. And then we want to use those to market. And so and I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I'm doing a YouTube series on the houses, and doing, trying to get more, now that my wife's doing ops, I can do more of the marketing stuff, because we should have marketing. Everyone should have marketing. I think when people say, no offense to anyone that says it, but people that brag about never marketing a day in their life, it's like, man, I mean, I'm glad that worked for you, but you left a lot of money on the table, so, and that's me. Like I'm preaching to the choir here. Like I've never done marketing, so I need to get on that. And so, but we want to use these jobs and use those to get more jobs like that. So that's our goal, is to get big projects, do big, cool residential stuff, throw some second stories and up and do some expansions. And yeah, so that's the next 12 months. Mario's killing the game. Can't wait for him to hit his 1 year. We got to think of something cool to celebrate with. And and just incorporating Ann further, our VA, and just we got a great path. It's just we're walking down the path and doing the best we can. So.
And all indicators are that you're gonna hit it. So yeah, congrats.
Come on, man. Thanks.
So we're coming up to the end here, which this is a topping off podcast. So we always want to know, do people have a topping off tradition, either when you complete the structure or when you wrap a project? How do you celebrate, if you celebrate?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was thinking that one of the things about having such a quickly growing company is that that everything changes monthly. It feels like that we're not the same company month to month, and so I think that's kind of changed when it's just me. At the end of our last large project, it was all me managing it on my own, and so it almost didn't feel like, I kind of was like, man, what? Maybe I thought of something to do, but I was like, oh, I guess I'm just on to the next. But now that we have a team and we're working through projects, I absolutely know we'll do something like that. I'll give you one. It's on the other side. It's when we get a big project, we do a plans party. And a plans party is when we hang out, order food, just have like a great time. And everyone, my wife, Mario, myself, right now, we all get together and we spend 4 hours, or however long we want, just going from page one to the last page on the plan set, and just highlighting every little thing that pops out to us that we want to make sure that we're aware of. So that's a new tradition. We just did our first one, and we had the best time. Like, it's not just getting the work done. It's like we're hanging out. We're like, we're charging all the food to the company card. We're like, we're pretending we're employees for a second, and we just have a great time. We just play some music and just cut loose a little bit and just enjoy each other, And so that's the tradition on the front end. Now I got to come up with the topping off. So that's what do you call the first shovel load that goes in?
Almost like a ribbon cutter. Or no, that's when you go in the building. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like the opposite of the topping off. It's the one on the bottom. So we have one of these traditions. I need one of these now. So
yeah. Right. It's just like, we're going to take a full circle. You started in the trenches, you ended in the cell phone towers.
Come on, baby. Come on. I like it. Awesome.
Good stuff. So Canon, where can people find you if they want to reach out or follow along with what you're up to?
Yeah, so our handle is Integria Builds. Our website's Integria Builds. I always like to say it's Integria Construction. You can find us at integriabuilds.com. So that's where we're at on Instagram. If you also just search Integria Construction, pretty sure we're the only one. The thing I'm excited about is YouTube. We are creating long form content, some short form content too, and just kind of walking through the process of these larger builds. So I would just encourage, go on YouTube, follow, subscribe to Integria, and comment. Tell me I got stuff wrong, because then I can learn. And then on the personal side, I'm also developing a personal brand. Shout out to Builders of Authority with that concept for your business brand, your personal brand. So that's Canon Baldridge. If you search me on YouTube, I do content directed towards business owners, anyone that's kind of like striking off and doing their own thing, whether that's, a franchise or whatever. Just anyone that's like, hey, I'm going to do this on my own. Obviously, I've mentioned a few times through this podcast, it's kind of lonely when you're doing stuff on your own. So I try to just, I want to build a community where people are able to kind of hear from me and communicate and kind of resonate and be each other's teammates as we walk through this together. So Canon Baldridge on YouTube, social medias, Canon Baldridge. I'm not a lot of guys named Canon, so I'm really easy to find. One N, Canon. So yeah.
And we'll definitely make sure that goes in the show notes.
Cool.
So people can find you. So Canon,
awesome.
Thank you so much, man. This was great, and you've really uncovered new territory that I'm sure is going to blow the mind of a lot of people out there. So thank you.
Yeah, and also a huge part of what's been helpful to me is just random phone calls with people that I either see on a podcast or see comment on a Facebook thread. I'll shoot them a DM. I'll be sure to throw my email in there, my phone number. I'm happy to chat with anyone and just chop it up. See what we can learn from each other, see how we can support each other. So anytime.
Yeah. Cool. Well, again, folks, this is another episode of the Topping Off podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, be sure to give us a rating. And if you thought this was useful, send it along to a friend. We are definitely wanting to help as many builders or remodelers as we can out there. So thanks, folks. We'll see you next time.